Afternoon, everyone. Futures Brizio here. It is 3:15 on Monday, April 27th. Hope everybody had a fantastical weekend and back at it for another week of trading. I know didn't make I only made a couple of videos last week. It was a little bit slow towards the end of the week, and I just get busy. So, um, I don't want to make a video if I don't really have much to say. And so I just didn't bother. But we're back at it today. I do have several trades running that I took either last night, this morning, or mostly from last week. I think of the ones running, 80% of them I took last week. So we're going to jump right in, take a quick look at Forex. I think we're going to skip futures today. I did not take any futures trades today, so we're just gonna probably leave that on the side, and we'll just talk about Forex, and then hopefully we'll get back to futures tomorrow. So, all right. So again, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Any questions, comments, leave them down below. Really appreciate it. Helps out the channel. Okay, so diving right in. First thing I wanted to discuss is I made a video last week, which I will leave a link for in this video. Uh, Actually, yeah, I'll post it somewhere on the screen here. So look for the link. It's also on my channel. And what are we about? So I can place the card about minute 20 or so into the video. All right, and you can check that out. And it is regarding trading the CSI indicator on the 4-hour chart, which is what we're looking at here. And I did tell you that you can actually trade this using 4-hour charts. Take these earbuds out of my ear instead of the daily chart if you wish. There's not a big difference. I've been back testing this since I made that video, and I am kind of liking it. I did change the length on the CSI indicator again. You can see right now, if you look in the upper left corner, it says you can see the 14 right where my mouse pointer is. And I did make my mouse pointer a little bigger so that it's just easier to see for me and for when I record videos. But you can see the look back period is now set at 14. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Basically, I was fluctuating between the 7 and the 21. And if 21 plus 7 is 28, divided by 2 is 14, splits it right down the middle, right? So that's about as scientific as it gets, right? So that's how I'm going to leave it, at least for now. And especially on the 4-hour chart, I don't want to make it too. I don't want to make the look back too short because it'll give too many false signals. But I don't really think there's any point going up to anything higher either. So on the 4-hour chart is going to give you very similar signals to the daily chart. Now, obviously, it's a 6 times shorter time frame, right? But the difference in the back testing is between say a 4-hour entry and a daily candle is basically one session. All right, so if you're in the middle of a 4-hour candle on Monday, then that signal is probably going to come on Tuesday on the daily chart. Okay, and so for the most part it's not really that big of a deal, but it might get you slightly better entries and a little bit better risk to reward ratio without necessarily generating a bunch more false signals. Okay. But again, you certainly can just stick to the daily chart using this. You can stick to a weekly chart or anything in between. I do not recommend going below a 4-hour chart. I think that's plenty short enough. It offers up plenty of opportunities, as you'll see, because I have several trades running, and pretty much all of these were taken off the 4-hour. And so you will get absolutely plenty of entries, especially if you're monitoring a lot of Forex pairs here. And you can see, this is all the pairs that I'm currently following. I did eliminate a few. I got rid of Aussie Swiss, Kiwi Swiss. I just didn't find them to be, they're just not good movers. I'm in a trade on CAD Swiss. I may actually dump that one once that trade closes. And I'm undecided about something like Aussie New Zealand. So I'm going to continue to refine my list and, just stick to pairs that do give some good signals. And when they do give some good signals, actually move and, produce some pips. And things like Aussie Swiss, Kiwi Swiss, I just think they're not very well traded. There's not a lot of volume in them, and so they just don't produce a lot of pips, and they're very range bound. They range certainly more than they trend. And more so even than other pairs. And there's a lot of wicks, and they're just not friendly pairs for trend trading and this type of signal. So, and it lets me just shorten my list, makes my analysis that much quicker. If there's three, four, five less pairs I have to look at, there's plenty of opportunities on the ones that I have. And like I said, I may continue to refine this list even more. And look at maybe dropping one or two more off this list too. And it still is going to give me plenty of opportunity. Okay. So, with that said, let's jump right in and we'll take a look at the funded account. So, you can see right now I've got open profit, a little over $1,000. This is about where it's been all day today. And you can see I've got 7 open trades right now. Okay. They're all in profit except for the Euro Swiss. The Euro Swiss is another one I'm thinking about getting rid of. So when this trade closes, regardless of the result of it, I may actually end up getting out of this. So here's the ones that I'm in right now. Here's Euro Swiss. We'll look at it back on TradingView, but I did want to show you the open trades, and that's where we're sitting with on profit right now. Okay, is a little over $1,000 in open profit. I do have take profits set on all of these except pound Kiwi, because that was one I took earlier today. Did not set a TP on that yet, but you can see the rest of them are all set with TPs and stop losses. Stop losses, of course, get set as soon as I enter the trade, but the TPs usually come later once they start hopefully moving in my direction. All right, so those are the trades, and then we'll go back to Trading View here and just take a look. So yeah, so we'll look here. Canadian Swiss. Okay, I'm long on CAD Swiss. I did have a take profit sitting up here at the upper end of this range. You can see what I was talking about. This is another very heavily ranged pair. If you look even on the daily chart, I mean, it does go through some trending periods, but it goes into these long kind of crappy, uh, you know, elongated consolidation periods, range bound periods, whatever you want to call it, like here, like here, like here. It is going up again. So, anyways, I do have a TP sitting a little bit above here. This does look, decently bullish. We had all these lows down here on the daily chart. We had this big move out. Price rallied up, came back down, corrected, and then seems to be wanting to move back up. So I think this is a pretty reasonable area to focus on for profit. It may very well go further. What I probably will do is, if it gets up to this area, you can see there's also a lot of equal highs up here, which often are not honored after a couple of attempts where they'll just stab at it a few times and then eventually it'll break through. But even if it gets to here, I'd be happy with that. I may run a trailing stop on this if it gets up to here. Put a trailing stop and see if we can get up to the next level. Up here at uh, this daily resistance level up here. Okay, so that's Canadian Swiss. Um, this was the signal that I entered this on. Obviously, we had this original signal that started off this trend way back here on March 2nd. And then we had another buy signal here where the orange line is the CAD, the Swiss is this blue line. You can see the crossover on a bullish candle. And that was my entry. I've been in this one since last week. Again, it's a very slow moving pair. It doesn't produce a lot of pips, which is why I'm not sure it's worth the mental energy to trade it. But I'm in this trade now, so I'm gonna see it through. All right, and then Aussie US dollar continues to move up. This was the signal on the Aussie US dollar, which is around where I got into this. I think I got in on this. This was the Sunday candle. So pretty sure this is around where I got into it, which was about here. And you can see it is continuing to go up. We do have the US dollar strengthening a little bit, which is a little troublesome. for this asset. Oh, excuse me, we're on the daily chart. We got to go back to the 4 hour. Yeah, okay, here we go. This looks better. So, but going back to the daily chart in terms of a target level, well, we can't really see anything here to the left. So, I had to go to the weekly chart and basically we've got this. This is the next real major area of resistance, which is where my take profit. This is pretty far away. This is the weekly chart, so we'll see if we get there. But that was the signal that led to this, and although the U.S. dollar is giving a little bit of strength today, overall this is still a pretty good crossover, and I'm pretty hopeful that we can hold on to this one for a little bit. All right, Euro Swiss. Again, 4 hour chart. I took this long. It's not looking all that great right now. It looked fine when I took it. It looked like we were going to go up. We now have both lines pointing down, which is not really a good sign. So I may end up just closing Euro Swiss. And if I do, this is probably one I'm going to take off my list. Anyways, I've got the Euro dollar and the dollar Swiss, which are very similar pairs. And I just, can be another oddball one. Anyways, so this might be one that I, no longer look at once this trade is done. So I'm going to try to lighten the load a little bit here. So, all right. And what else are we looking at here? Dollar Canadian. Dollar Canadian, you can see it was a short right here, which I'm still in. I got into it back here. You can see we've pulled up a little bit. The last couple of 4 hour candles have started to turn upwards, and we are heading down towards some support down here. So my take profit is sitting just below here at these levels on the daily chart. I'm not targeting this really low, this low down here, because you can see there's all these wicks somewhere around this 136 zone, 135.50 zone is the buyers have stepped in here multiple times. So I would like to see it get down here, but that probably won't be much longer. And that's where my TP is set on that one. And then we've got pound Swiss. Again, long on that one on this crossover. And again, let's go back to the 4 hour. Long on this one. Okay. And we do have the pound has since weakened a little bit, but, and we've got the Swiss still heading down though. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Again, I don't know, something about these Swiss pairs, right? If you think about it, I'm talking about Euro Swiss, CAD Swiss, Kiwi Swiss, New Zealand Swiss, and now pound Swiss, all being like really questionable. I don't know what it is about the Swiss franc. It is a safe haven currency, but it's not like the Japanese yen, which is also considered like a safe haven. It's just not the same. So they're just odd pairs. But anyways, so I've been in this one long. In terms of a target on this one, I think I wrote it down. 107.63 is about where I was looking. So somewhere up around these daily highs up here, I'd like to see this get to. You see it's getting hung up a little bit at these equal highs in here, but I'm hoping it gets through there, and then I can make it up here to these daily highs up this way. So we'll see how that one goes. And that is the pound Swiss. And I think I'm in Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie continues to go down. I've had several trades on Euro Aussie on this down move. I got back in today and just targeting. This will probably be a pretty fast trade. I'm just targeting back around this low here. Not at the extreme low, but at this little swing of just above it around the 162 area. That's where my take profit is sitting. It'll be a nice quick little trade. Now, who knows? That might get hit tonight if we get a little bit of a down push in the Asian session. So we'll see how that one goes. And then the pound Kiwi. Am I in pound Kiwi? Yeah, pound Kiwi short. And we got to go back to that. Pound Kiwi short. You can see that is going down. We got to go back to the 4 hour. Okay, and there was the trade, the entry. This one I took today, this morning, and that one is heading down. And then in terms of target on this one, I didn't put a take profit on this one yet because I just opened it. So I'll decide later what I want to do with this one in terms of take profit areas. We go to a weekly chart. Um, if this turns out to be a lower high right here, okay, then this will go down further. And then at least back to these previous lows here would be a nice intermediate target around the 225.15 area. So that would be a good area. Let me just write that down. 225.15 on the pound Kiwi. If this ends up playing out, you know, and we get some a good push down here. Okay, so let's see how that one works out. And yeah, so here it's way down here on the 4 hour chart. That was the daily we were looking at. So this has got a long way to go, but it does look like, potentially we've got, lower highs, lower high, lower high. We had equal highs up here that were breached, uh, and then ended up holding. In fact, let me just take this alert off of here. And, we'll see how that goes. We're getting this alert on Aussie Kiwi. This thing's been pinging all day on Aussie Kiwi. On the 4 hour chart, you can see both lines heading up. So this really wasn't one I was interested in because you can see with both lines heading up. So I think I'm just gonna delete this alert, and we'll just forget about that one. Okay. So yeah, that's what we're looking at there in Forex. In terms of other ones that I had on a watch list. These all could have gone either way. This is the New Zealand US dollar, which is very much like the Aussie USD. I just chose not to take both. This one looked really nice. I think Kiwi yen, Aussie yen, yeah, those had some good trades too. Here's the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. This was a really nice one. I mean, just look at that, just nice and clean. A good, nice pull away on the Aussie while the yen continues to go down. And the New Zealand yen was the same thing. I didn't take either one of these. I just, I had enough risk on the table, so I just chose not to. Pound Canadian actually seems to be okay. The CAD has picked up some strength, and we've had the pound down a little bit. That's a little bit of a conflict on some of these because, as I told you, but I'm short the pound Kiwi, but I'm long on the pound Swiss. So that's a little bit of a conflict. Some of that maybe honestly is being driven obviously by the New Zealand and the Swiss rather than what the pound is doing. I think the pound is pretty neutral right now. And it is, I mean, obviously, if you look at this line on the pound, it looks pretty neutral. Okay, so that's why this trade down is being driven by strength in the Canadian, and the pound Swiss is being driven up by weakness in the Swiss. You can see the pound actually is down to relatively flat, and so that's what you have to always remember with Forex. You're dealing with two currencies matched up, and so again, this indicator is built to exploit the divergence in strength between one weak and one strong, like what you see right here. All right, this is what this indicator is built for. When they both are moving in the same direction, or one of them starts to, move flat, that's still not, if one is moving flat and the other is moving up or down, that's still a decent trade because that one that's flat is not going to, it's not going to be as impulsive as if they went in completely opposite directions, but it's still a decent it's still a decent trade because that flatness is just going to make it neutral. And if the other currency is strengthening or weakening pretty aggressively, like you see here with the Swiss, then that's still a good trade. And that is, kind of what we're seeing here with the pound Swiss. We did have nice divergence for a while. Now we've kind of backed off and leveled off. And you can see, with that, the price action has kind of neutralized. The last few 4-hour candles have been kind of, not really making any new highs. So that pretty much goes in line with what you're seeing here, right? That the pound is weakening a little bit, or at least is leveled off. And so that's causing the Forex pair, in this case, the pound Swiss, to kind of flatten out and level off. It doesn't mean it won't eventually continue back up. We could see this pound come down and then bend and start rallying back up again, but it's just something to be aware of. And it's, it's a potential management point for the trade. So it's something I'll have to look at. So, so yeah, so that's pretty much what we have. Um, had pound dollar and pound Aussie on my watch list from last night. We'll just look at those. Here's the pound Aussie. And this one, again, was a nice sell. I just chose to take the Euro Aussie. They're very, very closely correlated. Pound Aussie, Euro Aussie, and pound Kiwi, Euro Kiwi are all very closely correlated pairs. So if there's a trade on one, there's probably a trade on the other. I generally won't take both of them because you're doubling, your exposure. If it doesn't work out, I mean, if it does and you look like a genius, you take two winning trades. But if it doesn't, you're potentially doubling your risk because how one goes, the other, they don't move exactly pip for pip, but they're very close. So I just chose to take the Euro Aussie over the pound Aussie, but I could easily have taken this one too. Oh, the other reason why I didn't take pound Aussies because at least on this time frame, as when I got the signal, it was already kind of hitting all these equal lows down here, at least on the 4-hour chart. I mean, there is a daily chart level below this that you could target, but on the Euro Aussie, it looked cleaner. It didn't have this nearby, support level sitting here for it to run into, and so that's why the only reason why I chose to take the Euro Aussie over that. And then pound US dollar, again, we had the US dollar weakening. We do have the pound again weakening and flattening off, and you can see again this pair has pulled back a little bit the last 12 hours, 3 4 hour candles. But I'm not in this trade, but this would have been a decent trade out of here. And if I was still in it, if I did take it, I would probably still be holding this trade and just waiting to see if we get a turnaround and have this thing make another push up. But it's just another trade I had on my watch list, but I did not end up taking it. Like I said, I got 7 open trades. That's a lot of open risk, especially off of a 4-hour time frame. And so, like I said, guys, you're going to get plenty of trades, even if I keep chopping down this list a little bit, which I probably will. I can see myself knocking at least 2 more pairs off this list, maybe 3. I still think I'm going to get plenty of trades. And, if I have to go several days without one, then so be it. It's just that it just so happens the last couple of days, there have been, quite a few trades in here. So if I get the signal and they look good, I'll take them, regardless of how many there are. But if there's not, I'm not going to force it because they'll come along soon enough, especially on a 4-hour time frame. So, all right. So, yeah, that's about it, guys. I think I'm just going to leave it there for today. And again, we're just trading this very simple methodology, the currency strength indicator using a 14 period look back. So in this case, 14 4-hour candles. And, using that in conjunction with price action market structure, I do always still, even if I'm not taking signals off the daily, I'm going up to the daily or the weekly chart just to get that zoomed out larger picture before I take these trades and make sure that the signal makes sense. That that it's not, I prefer not to take a counter trend trade. And you certainly can get a 4-hour signal um, that is actually a counter trend signal. And it doesn't mean you can't take that, but I'm going up to the higher time frames of the daily or the weekly to make sure that that trade makes sense. And if I do take a counter trend trade based on a 4-hour signal, that I'm very realistic about how far that's going to go. Or I just skip it entirely and wait to get a signal in the opposite direction, back in the direction of the trend. So that's, again, using it on the shorter time frame, you're definitely going to, have more signals but more signals doesn't mean better signals. You do have to kind of watch and kind of see what's going on and, use your price action market structure levels again off the higher time frame, in this case, the daily chart for me, and just see if it makes sense to take it. And if it does, great, take the trade and, take the consequence with it. And if not, then skip it. There'll definitely be something else coming along pretty soon after that. So, all right. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Any questions, comments, leave them down below. Hope that was helpful. Again, if you want any information about the CSI indicator, you're interested in getting a copy of it, drop it in the comments. I'll connect you with the developer. Again, I don't sell it. I don't have a link. Since I've had this channel for the last more than 10 years, I've always said I'm not, selling anything on this channel, and I'm going to stick to that. But if anybody is interested or you just have questions about the indicator, let me know. If you're interested in getting a copy of it, let me know that too, and I will find a way to connect you with the developer, who's a Trading View official Trading View developer and coder, and you can get a copy yourself and use this on your own. But if you have any questions on it in the meantime, certainly leave them in the comments section, and I do read and answer everything. So, all right, have a great rest of the day. Tomorrow we'll take a look and see what's going on in the futures market. Um, and we'll go from there. But I just wanted to leave this on Forex because of all the open trades I have, and just again have that discussion about using the 4-hour time frame for entries. All right, have a good rest of the day, guys, and we'll talk to you all tomorrow.